Well, good morning, Team NEOMED. It's a pleasure to be able to give you an update again this week. Start by recognizing I know there's a big rivalry in Northeast Ohio for those who are focused on Ohio itself, being Browns fans, and those who are looking at the broader area who are Pittsburgh Steelers fans. But what I'll note is that the Browns have really stepped up their game. For those of you who had a chance to watch it this weekend, it was a bit of a nail biter till the end, but our Browns have now moved on to take 5 victories. And it's really unclear to me what's happened to allow them to transform over the last year, because Mr. Mayfield's been present with them since 2018. The only change I can see that's taken place over this last year was, well, quite frankly, I was given the honor to join the NEOMED team. So I'd like to think somehow, some way, NEOMED is influencing the ability of the Browns to move forward and at least provide us some additional entertainment during this time of COVID, when many of us are staying at home and having the opportunity to watch some of the local teams perform. On a more solemn note, I do want to give a little bit more broad recognition to Dr. Jay Gershon, the president of NEOMED for 10 years. All of you know that Dr. Gershon left about a year ago. And I just want everybody to be aware who may not have seen the email that Dr. Gershon is looking after his health at this time with his wife, Carol. He has been diagnosed with a lymphoma, and he is undergoing treatment. So I ask you to please keep Dr. Gershon in your thoughts and in your prayers. He was a tremendous leader for this institution, and he is obviously a tremendous person, and we wish him well as he undergoes therapy. Recognizing the awardees from this university every 2 weeks is always one of my favorite things to do. It just shows the incredibly capable and talented faculty members, and in some cases staff members at this university, whose research and community service efforts are recognized nationally and regionally with financial awards to continue to support the great work they're doing. And over the last 2 weeks, I've received information on Dr. Terry Robinson, on Ruth Samara, and Jessica Zavala for continued support and funding for their work from external agencies. And my hat's off to Dr. Stacy Garner-Buckshaw. I had the opportunity to recognize her 2 weeks ago for a fairly large grant, and she's received another one to support her efforts and that of her team. So congratulations to all of you. That's really well-deserved. And it's just incredible recognition of the highly talented faculty members and staff members we have at this university. Focusing on a brief COVID update, we are continuing all of the policies and procedures we put in place to keep this campus safe, and it is working. My update from our COVID team, who has been following and managing this for us on a routine basis, including Jesse Zavala, Dr. Joe Zarconi, and his team of individuals who've been helping him manage this process for us. We are continuing to do very, very well. We do have one student who was still actively positive and is almost off isolation. In fact, they'll be coming off this week. And we do have one staff member who was recently diagnosed. However, I've been informed that that staff member was following the hybrid virtual work policies and had very limited contact on campus. So we do not expect that's going to affect us greatly, if at all, from any of the other members on our campus. Certainly anybody who would be at risk from any types of contacts will be contacted directly by the Portage County Health District. But this is good news. Of course, our thoughts are with those individuals who have been diagnosed, and in hoping that they recover very quickly and are able to get back to healthy lives. But the good news for us as a group and as a team is that we're really not having any major issues on this campus, despite the fact that Portage County and the counties in the region have gone up in their risk level pretty significantly over the last couple of weeks. We putting in asymptomatic testing. That is going to be something that we're doing in compliance with the governor's request that we test about 3% of our population per week, especially focused on our students. And they've asked us to identify what they would consider high-risk students. And we've defined that as those who are on our campus. That's not going to be our students who are in the hospital setting. They're being followed differently. And healthcare workers actually have a different guideline through which they are followed regarding potential for quarantine and or isolation. We are working out the logistics for getting that up and running and hope to have the asymptomatic testing in place by early November. And that is being facilitated by the test that some of you may have read about called binax. It's a point of care test where we can do a nasal swab and get the results back in 8 to 10 minutes. The state of Ohio has supplied us 120 test kits so far and is expecting to give us more. In addition, we will be purchasing additional tests available on this campus. The test availability is limited, but we are able to get some excess tests, and they're actually at a reasonable cost, as opposed to the more definitive tests that have been done by RT-PCR that have a cost associated with them between $100 and $200 per test. This is about $5 per test. So we're looking to really expand those capabilities on campus. I do want all of you to think a lot more about your mental health and your overall wellness. We are moving into the holiday season, which for many people can be a joyous time of year, but for many others, it's not. It can be associated with loneliness or past loss of loved ones. It's also a time where the skies in Ohio turn a little bit more gray, and seasonal depression is not uncommon. We're now going to be mixing seasonal depression with the notable COVID depression. So it's really important that you stay connected with friends and family and colleagues. Virtual connections can be very beneficial, getting outside, keeping social distance, but getting outdoors and not being cooped up in the house, looking after your own work-life balance, and ensuring that you're doing everything you can to look after yourself, not waiting until it becomes a problem. Be proactive about this. Work with the Sequoia folks here on campus with their virtual work-life balance and mental health programs that they have in place. And then please ensure that as you can continue to work more at home and stay indoors more, that you're doing what you can to look after your own mental health and well-being and that of your loved ones and friends. I want to recognize once again Sarah Brickley, who's stepped up our Lean Six Sigma programs. Many of you have heard me talk about Sarah and the great work she's done here at the university over the course of the last 5 to 6 months. I continue to get emails, written letters, and verbal confirmation of the incredible job she's doing. The accolades continue to roll in every day. This is a great program that she's really helped to step up and run, but it's also a great program because all of you are embracing it. In fact, I received a handwritten note from one of our faculty from pharmacy practice on Friday of last week, really highlighting the great work that Sarah's doing and how helpful she's been in helping to grow the Lean Six Sigma programs, which really are about faculty and staff development here on our campus. So for those of you who've not been involved, please look for emails on the information sessions regarding the new class enrollments for green and yellow belts that will occur in January. Sarah will be holding informational sessions on these. This program is really an outstanding way to grow yourself as well as to grow the university. So I encourage all of you to get involved. We have so many great people we can recognize at this university who are continuing to perform at an incredibly high level. And I hope to recognize several at each of these events. And I can't get to all of them today, but I would like to point out the great work of Lacey Madison, Dr. John Boltree, and Maria Scheimer in helping us get our clinical enterprise up and running. For those of you who've seen the emails and the information coming out on Pulse regarding the clinical practice here on the NEOMED campus, we are doing it. We're doing it rather rapidly. We've got a third-party partner who's assisting us with our electronic health record, our policies, our procedures, another partner helping us with malpractice planning. And we should have an integrated family practice and behavioral health program, an expansion of the capabilities of our SOAR program, and a substance abuse program here on our campus up and running sometime in November. It's on the second floor of the new medical office building. We've made some additional modifications to the infrastructure to better support patients in that area, but this is moving along very rapidly and very successfully. So thank you to that team and the support of all the leaders across our community who are helping to make this a reality here at NEOMED. Strategic plan update. We've got our plan and we are now moving forward with the execution plan, which is creating the operational goals, objectives, and metrics to finally put that into place for us. We have a meeting today where we are creating working groups who are representatives from across our campus, in addition to members of our community, to now enact our plan and to move it forward so that we can show progress. And I can report to you the progress we're making from the standpoint of real metrics. What is it we've achieved? How have we achieved it? And what are we doing really well at? This is an iterative process that will go on for the next 3 to 5 years and beyond. But this initial plan is really to take us into the next 3 to 5 year timeframe, and then we'll continue to build upon that plan as we see how we're moving forward successfully, and really separating ourselves from the others, differentiating ourselves, and giving NEOMED the opportunity to stand up and shine in the areas that all of you have said, these are the primary focus areas that we need to go after over the course of the next 3 years. I've had a number of questions about the after Thanksgiving plan that has been created in partnership with the IUC and the Chancellor's Office in response to the request from the governor of de-densifying our campus even more between Thanksgiving and the winter holidays. Just a little point of clarification. This is really focused around our students and the student footprint on campus. The concern of the governor, which actually was in the process of corresponding closely with the leadership at the executive level in the federal government, is a concern that the students who are on campus will be going back to their families and friends over the holidays on Thanksgiving period, which is a pretty common event. And the concern is that they may take a COVID with them and put family and friends at risk who may be in high risk categories. And then they'll come back to our campus and reconvene as a group with potentially a higher rate of COVID positivity. So the changes we've made have been left up to the deans, and it's a way of de-densifying the campus through increased hybrid educational models and through the decisions they're making regarding either a reduction or change in the presence of small groups for educational purposes and for testing and for laboratories. We will continue to help de-densify the campus for some of the ancillary support staff around the educational activities on campus. But this is a decision that will be made by the frontline supervisors in coordination with their department chairs and their deans. This is not a broad shutdown as we did in May. We don't have the mandate from the governor that we are essentially going to only critical workers only. The economy has continued to improve, and in Ohio has returned to as much normalcy as we can. We'll continue to do that, but the de-densification is really around our students and the concern the state and the federal government has around taking a population who are here and live and work and play together, and then having them return across the country or across the state to different regions to see family and friends during traditional holidays and then come back. So again, work with your supervisors. They will be issuing the plan, if any change whatsoever for your work area. I very much expect that some work areas like campus operations and research and the research enterprise will continue to function as they are now. That is not, for the most part, student dependent or involving a great deal of student present in those areas. And what we've done is working, as I noted in the beginning, we've had a very low COVID positivity rate on this campus, and it continues to be that way because of all of you helping us along through this process. Many of you know that we started a new leadership platform in healthcare called VITALS. VITALS stands for Value-Based Innovation, Technology, Advocacy, Leadership, and Service. And it's meant for anybody and everybody who wishes to attend. For our clinical faculty, it comes with continuing medical education credits and continuing educational credits for others outside of the physician workforce. But it's really an opportunity to come together around how to be leaders in healthcare. And it's supposed to be compelling topics from thought leaders in the area. The next one is November 5th at 5 p.m. It's virtual. And we are having one of our alumni, in fact, one of our great alumni leaders, Dr. Venkaya, who is the president for the Global Vaccine Development Business Unit for Takeda Pharmaceuticals. Although the talk is up to him and focused on leadership, and in this case, it's really about innovation and technology, we're hoping to hear a really thoughtful discussion that should be quite relevant to COVID-19 and the role that our alumni and healthcare leaders are taking in trying to enact measures to improve the health of the public. Please look for the emails. There is a registration for it for those of you who want continuing medical education credits. But if not, you don't have to go through the full education, the process of registering. We look forward just to having you attend. The format is 17 minutes of speaker coming forward and presenting the information they want to share with you. And the rest of it is all a discussion, question and answers with the audience that will be moderated by Monica Robbins, who's the senior health correspondent for Channel 3 News in Cleveland. And finally, it's that time where we have an opportunity to vote and help contribute to the selection of the candidate who will represent us in many areas. But this is that time every 4 years where your vote also will be choosing who the next president of the United States is. And regardless of your political beliefs, it's really critical that all of us get out and exercise the privilege to vote. And I'm encouraging you all to do so. Many times people feel like their vote really doesn't make a difference and doesn't count. And I assure you that it does, especially in the state of Ohio. We are a swing state. It's unclear which candidates are going to get the support of this state, and through that, going to get all of the votes associated with the Electoral College from this state. So please get out, vote, and have your opportunity to have a voice in the say of who your next leader is. We will be running voting, helping out the local community on this campus. And I wanted all of you to be aware there will be increased foot traffic and people in general coming onto our campus. We're working to keep that contained to the atrium in the news center and to contain it further within the atrium so that those individuals are within a particular confined area in order to meet our COVID-19 containment measures here on campus. We are working with the state and the following federal guidelines on the rules regarding voters. We are asking everybody to wear a face covering for voting, but what we're being informed of at this time is it's not something we're allowed to mandate for the purpose of voting. So I do want all of you to be aware there may be an increased footprint, but very controlled, of individuals coming onto our campus who may not completely follow the policies and procedures of the university to ensure we have a low transmission rate of COVID-19, but we'll make every effort to keep them cordoned off in such a way that they can exercise their right to vote, but not bring them onto campus in a way that's going to put our community at risk. So more will come out in the communication from the university around that, but I wanted all of you to be aware in case you do see an additional amount of traffic that may not necessarily be following the policies and procedures we've established for safety on this campus. And with that, I'm going to stop and open it up for some questions.
Yes, the first question is, what is NEOMED's plan for the campus if Portage County becomes purple or level 4, or if someone's home county, student, staff, or faculty becomes purple or level 4 public emergency?
We're continuing to follow the processes and procedures that we have in place because they're working. You will get continued guidance from our COVID-19 team, which includes public health experts as well as physicians who are working across the IUC in the state to implement any changes. So we'll get guidance as if it looks like there's a big second surge that's starting to change the risk profile across the region and the state. The governor's office and the chancellor's office will have us participate in a steering group, which we've been on all this time, to implement policies and procedures uniformly as possible across the universities. So you will have communications, and we'll continue to pivot and adapt on a daily and weekly basis as we need to. But for now, we're going to continue to follow what we have in place because it's working and it's working well. Even at a time where this county has gone to red and the adjoining counties have gone to red, as I've shared with you, we've got 2 people associated with the campus who are positive. One student who's just about to come off isolation and will return to the community activities following the procedures we have in place, and one staff member who's had very little contact on this campus. So if everybody did what we're doing, we would be in a much better situation. But since they're not, we're going to continue to be very diligent and strict about the policies that we have in place. And any changes will be done thoughtfully through our COVID-19 team in coordination with the IUC, which is the group that represents all the public universities in Ohio.
The next question is, a lot of sanitizer stations are out of sanitizer. Both employees and students are concerned. Do we have to submit work orders for this?
I would suggest that if you come across one that just runs out or is running out, or you notice that it's empty, please get in touch with Dale Hook from the operations team. He's been doing an amazing job on this campus, ensuring that those are up, operational, and with an adequate supply. It's good that they're running low because that means you're using the product, which is really what we want you to do. But his team, as diligent as they are, needs to know. And so you simply need to help us with communication. We do have the product to be able to get in there and fill those. And so please help us out. And I'll ask that team that runs this for operations to do a more frequent chance to do rounds around the university to ensure we're keeping those full.
Can we plan to work from home on election day due to the increased traffic on campus?
We are not making any changes to election day at this time. We have really significantly de-densified the campus with our students already. And we've already moved to the change in our employee opportunities for a hybrid model, combining in-person and virtual work opportunities. So I'll leave that to the individual frontline supervisors. But we're not the way we're controlling the voting area, we're not expecting there to be any increased risk to members of our campus.
There are not any questions.
Great. Well, thank you for the opportunity to be able to give you this update. I really look forward to doing this with you every 2 weeks. I do my best to be as transparent with you as possible and to share with you what this university is doing to keep everybody safe, and at the same time to share with you the accolades of the incredibly talented employees that we have here and our students too, of course. So thank you very much.